everybody. This week, you're going to love Pop Goes the Country. It's a very, very special show. I'm not even going to tell you who is here, but we're going to show you lots of pictures of our stars. Guest star, and I wish you'd welcome her now, Loretta Lynn. Coal miner's daughter. Loretta, tell them the new exciting news about the book.
There's going to be a movie made of the coal miner's daughter, and you was asking me if I'd thought of anybody that I'd like to play the coal miner's daughter. And I said, no, I hadn't, because I ain't never heard anybody talk like me.
Well, all right, maybe somebody could act like you. This show.
Well, I don't think that'd be too hard. I think they tried that 2 or 3 times, didn't they?
This show is kind of special, and you might tell them why it's kind of special.
Well, it's because all the family just about is on, all the ones that's professionally in the business.
This show features Crystal Gayle and Peggy Sue and J. Lee Webb, but you had to change his name, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to change his name. Me and Jack, we got a big bang out of it. J. Lee, I call him Jack. But his first record come out as Jack Webb. And then Jack Webb from Dragnet made us change his name.
And so he became J. Lee
He became
Webb.
J. Lee, and I told him then, I said, now I guess you know which one is the biggest on MCA.
And, of course, Crystal was Brenda.
Uh-huh.
And you changed her name, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought Crystal was more of a stage name, a star's name, you know. Crystal is bright and shiny, and I knew that she had the talent, so I gave her a name to go with it.
I gather you're very proud of your family.
Yes, I am.
Well, we're going to meet little brother here in a second. Actually, he is younger than you are.
Yeah.
And in this book, there's a story about him and a black snake. In the house, the black snake under his bed.
I think that was, no, that's not him.
Oh, it wasn't about him? All right, then I'll go on. Let me show you a little picture here. We have a lot of pictures in this show that, if you watch carefully, I think you'll find they're very interesting. Now, this is a young Jackie Webb. And who are the girls in the picture?
That's Peggy Sue.
Peggy Sue.
And the other one is Betty Ruth, my sister, that she don't sing, you know, professionally in the business.
Right. All right, now let's meet the live in person. J. Lee or Jack Webb?
Loretta, I know that the film Coal Miner's Daughter comes from your autobiography, but when did the idea of making it into a film first come along? Whose idea was it, and how were you involved in the creation of the film?
Well, I wasn't really involved that much because I kind of stayed out of that part. I knew when the book was out, I felt that there would be a movie. And I kept hollering, there's going to be a movie, and my managers thought I was crazier than a lunatic. And so I told him I wanted to go to Universal to see if, you know, if they wanted a movie, and if they didn't, well, I would go somewhere else.
How did you know there was going to be a movie? Was this part of your extrasensory perception, or?
I think it was. I think it was. I felt during the time that the movie was being filmed, I shouldn't watch it, you know. So I didn't watch any of the filming or anything. So when it was over, I wasn't going to watch it till the night of the premiere. And they told me that there's going to be some press, so you better watch it, so you better take notes. So I watched the premiere. And when I got through watching the premiere, we flew into New York. So we'd been up there like for a week, you know, doing press and stuff. And David Hartman asked me if I liked the movie, and I said, yeah, it's a good movie. He said, well, tell us a little about it, and I couldn't think of one thing I'd seen. I was so embarrassed. But Dave Skepner made me go back in at about 10 o'clock that night and watch the movie again by myself.
And that way you remembered
I took notes that night. So you can ask me anything you want to.
Shoes.
You love shoes?
I don't care what they look like. I buy shoes. I take them home. And some of them I can't wear, some of them I can. I never had them when I was little. And I go crazy when I pass a shoe store. So I give them to radio stations, and they auction them off if I can't wear them for needy families and stuff.
But you just buy shoes, because these are very basic. I mean, they're pretty, but...
They're
I mean,
just
put your
plain
leg
old
up.
shoes.
Yeah, I mean, just a plain old, nice plain old
shoes.
stupid-looking shoe. I mean, you know. No, I mean like plain old shoes.
They're not as pretty as yours.
Mine aren't
but
pretty.
See,
They're old,
the
yeah.
thing of it is, I don't care what they look like when I'm buying them.
Just buy them.
Yeah.
That's.
This is it.
Now, I've been reading about you and Crystal Gayle, who's your sister.
Uh-huh.
And I've been reading that you hate each other and you're fighting. And then I read that you're suing someone over that. That the tabloids came out and said terrible things, and you're in the middle of a lawsuit.
Over Crystal and me?
Yeah. No. Then what are you in a lawsuit over? I know you're suing some.
It's over. Yeah, it's not over Crystal and I, because
right.
Crystal and I are sisters, and love runs thicker than water. And
That's nice.
I think people are the ones that put the thought in other people's heads. It wasn't in my head or hers, either one. I mean, it's everybody else. And I think, you know, Crystal and I are sisters, and if we want to have a little spat, we do it by ourselves, and nobody knows anything about it.
Well, everybody fights with their family.
Yeah, sure.
You might as well.
But not like, and not the way that the people tried to make it out to be.
Oh, and I now remember what the lawsuit was about. It was about someone said that you were taking...
Dope.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Well, I guess that's what it was. They said it took an overdose, which was a lie.
Oh,
So that,
can we talk about this when we come back?
Can we talk?
Oh, can we talk? All right, we'll be back. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I kind of think it. I'm just getting tired of hearing it because I've heard it enough, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah. But you've also, you think it's also because you've had medical problems where you did, at one point, you were on prescription drugs and all that? Did I think that hurt you the
You know,
most?
15 years ago, I took a Librum. Someone heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once it gets in the press,
yes,
it's there forever.
it's there forever.
Yeah.
But you cannot get sick, and I've, you know, the bleeding ulcers that I've had, and the broken wrist, as you can see, that I've got one more X-ray to go before they're through with that, and that's what this was over. It was not pills at all, and how they got that I'll never know. I live my home in Nashville was 1 block from the hospital, and they said that we drove 90 miles an hour from my ranch.
Yeah, but that makes better copy. Loretta in the back of the car, 90 miles, and Loretta walks to the hospital.
No, it was an ambulance.
Oh, ambulance?
An ambulance even, yeah.
That would have been a bigger bill.
Yeah.
Now,
Even.
I feel so close to you because, you know, we see you successful and a star for so many years, and then when your son died, that was just so awful and so tragic, the accident. He was 34 years old, and you were in the hospital at the time. Reminded me a little bit of what I went through, because I'd been in the hospital. My husband passed on. But you had a premonition, someone told me.
Well, you know, I'll probably get a lot of letters about this, but I get letters about everything else, so to heck with it. You rag magazines. But, you know,
Did you have a premonition?
I always felt that I was going to lose this boy of mine. And
This one particular son?
Yes, I've always felt this. And I know my husband would say, Loretta, you're crazy. Well, maybe I am and maybe I ain't. How does he know? But I come home one day, and he had sent a picture, and I'd had it blown up, and both of my boys one was in the Marines and one was in the Army. And Jack was in the Army. And they were in the den, and I had them blown up, and they were, you know, hanging up. And when I come home, I walked in the kitchen, and I heard something, and I looked around, and it was Jack's picture fell. And I went over, and I looked at it, and immediately I knew the way that the glass had cracked, that it would be about 7 years before I'd lose him. And it was 7 years.
How did it affect your life? You have grandchildren, you have other children.
I just thank God that I have the rest of them. And I was a little bit bitter for a while. And I play games with myself still yet. You know, that everything's okay.
And that he's alive.
Yeah, everything's okay. And, but until you lose someone, you think, oh boy, well, I'm going to be quitting work here pretty soon, and everything's going to be fine, and this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And when you lose someone, you're going to know then that nothing will ever be okay again.
Yeah, or the same again.
That's right.
You know, you're so down to earth. Every time I talk to you, it's like talking to a girlfriend. I know we don't see each other that often, but I just think you're so great. Do you think of yourself as a star?
No.
When you see the name Loretta Lynn up there, what, you go, that's me?
Not really. To me, it's someone else. I walk on stage as someone else to try to please. When I walk on that stage, I give them everything I've got because they paid their way in. And it bothers me if I don't get to sign autographs, and if we have 2 shows, I don't get to.
Yeah, I have that same thing. I get crazy, yes.
Yeah, and I feel if they buy anything, it should be autographed, you know. And there's very few people that feel this way, and I'm glad you do.
Do you think you'll ever retire? Because you enjoy the farm or the ranch, as you call it.
Well, you know, I don't
guineas.
work in the winter. Oh, I love the guineas.
I have to go out now and buy me a little guinea. You know.
I miss them right now, you know, because they would hear me coming, and they've just started sprouting little wings, and they're getting their little feathers now. And
but do you think you'll retire? Or
you know, in the winter, I spend my winters in Hawaii or in Mexico or somewhere all the time. I don't work, but in the summer.
Well, I hope you'd come back anytime you're in New York. Come back and visit. I just love you. Thank you. We'll be right back.
We've just been watching John Schneider, and I'm so happy to have Loretta Lynn here with me. And Loretta, I sure did enjoy you, and I know, you know, and everybody in America knows, because you've opened your heart to all of us through the years. You've been through some hard times, so you know what most of this is all about. What do you think about all this?
Well, I've been watching the farmers now for about 5 or 6 years, and I've watched them lose their homes, and some of them are friends. And some of the homes was handed down from their grandfather. So I was ready. When they asked me to do this, I didn't even think twice. I said, yes, I'll do the show.
Well, you got a big farm yourself, and like Charlie said, you don't necessarily have it to make a living like the folks that we're trying to help today, but you grew up in times that were hard, and you have a lot of compassion for folks, and we're so proud to have you here today.
Well, thank you, Brenda. I was so aggravated because I never use monitors. I've never heard in this 1 year, and you know, I've never. So the monitors had all my music through them. And shoot, I just didn't know. They played one song and I sang another.
Well, you pulled it off great because you said, I'm just going to stay here till I get it figured out. And that's why everybody loves you.
Then they started God Bless America out for Coal Miner's Daughter. I couldn't believe this.
That's all right. We love you, and it don't matter. And by the way, you are cool looking today.
I may be, but you know, this coat is so hot.
We're going to take a break right now, but don't y'all go away. We're going to come back. Keep those phone lines busy.
On the next Roseanne show, Roseanne sits down with living legend Loretta Lynn to talk about life, love, and the other woman.
'Cause you ain't woman enough to take my man.
My next guest is a musical icon and a living legend. I'm so happy she's here. Please help me welcome Loretta Lynn.
Do you think we learn anything from Mrs. Madison?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, she's been married 8 times, huh?
Yeah, you've only been married 1 time.
Well, that's enough. This is what I'm wondering.
I'm on my 3rd, you know. But you managed to stay married for almost 50 years.
Yeah, it would have been 50 this year.
Oh. You just lost your husband. 50 years, and you're so young, and that's because you were 13 years old when you got married.
Yeah. I kind of walked out of Daddy's arms into his arms. And, you know, I was the baby girl I think I was 9 when, or maybe 10 when my sister come along. And, of course, I was always in Daddy's lap because I was jealous if he picked up one of the babies. So I'd get over in Daddy's lap and he'd have to rock me, too. So he was rocking me when I got married. So,
wow.
And the night that
It's not really all that unusual to get married when you're 13.
No, it really is. You know, all the girls that I grew up with, cousins, and like I say, Kentucky looks like a telephone pole. Should I have said that? But
right.
Well, it's okay.
I wanted
They know it too, don't they?
Yeah, they know it.
But anyway.
I want to ask you something about that, though.
All right.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Because I was thinking, well, Loretta Lynn was 13 years old when she got married. And what do you think of this woman, Mary Kay Letourneau? They're giving her, you know, she's in all this trouble because she's in love with this student of hers who was 14 years old when she got with him. What do you think of that?
You know, I really never thought too much about it because you kind of try to stay out of something that you don't care about.
All right, so you don't.
Didn't bother me any, so
you don't think it's like so shocking because.
Well, it was. It was. I wouldn't do it, but maybe it was okay for her. I mean, how can we be a judge?
Right.
You know, we can't judge.
Right. Well, and you also had like 4 kids by the time you were 17 years old, didn't you?
Yes, and by the time I was 21, I had lost 3. You know, like I have RH negative blood, but I didn't know it then, and no doctor told me. And I guess they didn't get paid. That's probably why they didn't tell me. But anyway, I lost 3 babies when it was 3 months or 4 months, and then found out when my sissy was born, she had her earlobe off, and they got to looking around. And then they told me, you have RH negative blood, and you may never have another baby. But after I went to Nashville, after I started singing, I thought, this is going to be very hard, which it was hard, very hard. I got pregnant after 2 or 3 years after I left and went to Nashville. And I worked right up till the babies was born, though. I worked up one night before the babies was born.
Wow. How old were you the first time you ever went on stage?
27.
Before you were on stage?
Uh-huh.
I thought you were like on stage when you were 14 or 15.
No, I was in the swing, rocking the swinging babies and mommies and rocking my babies. That's the only place my husband ever heard me sing. And it would be White Christmas or something like that, you know.
So you were 27 when you got the idea to go?
I didn't get the idea, it was his. He says, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get you a job.
So you were just home with all these kids,
yeah,
and your husband had heard you sing, and he comes home one day, he's like, here's what we're going to do.
He got one of these little harmony guitars, which was like $17, I think, and I always wanted a wedding band. And it's broke right now, and it just about kills me, but I'm going to get it fixed. They tried to sell me a new one the other day when I took that in to get it fixed, and I said, I don't want your new one.
Of course you don't want a new one.
No, I don't want a new one. I want mine. And so, well, I kissed her, and I wanted to get it off my face.
I want to leave it there.
And,
no, I just can't believe that your husband comes home and goes, okay, Loretta, you're going to go start singing.
He did. He said, now you learn to play that. So I learned to play that. And I learned to play.
Well, did you think that was a crazy idea, or were you excited about it, or what?
Oh, I like to die. He pushed me on stage. I don't know how many times he pushed me out there. And I'd go on just scared to death, and then I'd leave the stage with a migraine headache. And I'd get over the headache around Wednesday and then start taking it again on Friday because I knew I was going to sing Saturday.
Did you think, were you making money that made you want to go?
$5 on a Saturday night. That's like that old song, got $5 and it's Saturday night.
Well, how come you didn't say no to him?
Well,
you must have wanted to do it.
Are you kidding me? Say no to him?
No. You couldn't say no to your husband?
Not too well.
Wow, so he's
let's put it like this. I had the 4 kids, and if one of them made a mistake or I made a mistake, then the little boogers would get into things during the day, and I couldn't whip them. I couldn't whip them to save my life. And I'd say, as soon as your daddy comes home, he'll kill you. And I'm going to tell him. And before, it didn't take but a couple of times that I quit that. Because when he'd come home, he whipped them, he'd give me one too.
So you went on stage to sing because you thought he was going to kick your butt if you didn't?
Well, I knew that he wasn't going to like it, and I knew we wouldn't get along, so I knew that things wouldn't go very well.
Man.
So
Well, then, somewhere, though,
well, he
somewhere.
said just 2 years, and we'll have enough money to buy us a home.
Okay.
Well,
so you thought there was
years-
going to be an end?
Yeah.
Because you didn't ever like it?
Well, no, because I had never done it. You got to realize where I come from, Roseanne, was way in the back in the mountains. And then when he brought me to Washington State, I never got out of the house. One time I went to the grocery store in 1 year and was scared to death to go in. He'd usually pick up a few groceries on the way home from work. And
I can't even deal with that. It's so amazing.
It's true.
It's so amazing.
So when I started...
And then, like, these songs, when did you start writing songs? Let's talk about that. Because the songs you wrote were about this really strong woman who was, like, so defiant.
About this ornery man. Oh,
well, let's take a commercial and come back and talk about that. Okay. Don't go anywhere. More with Loretta Lynn after these messages. Transformed country music. Nobody had ever heard anything like the songs you wrote before.
That's right.
Because there was a lot of kind of women victim songs about, oh, my husband left me and he kicked my butt and he whatever, you know how country. But your songs were different because, let's talk about the kind of songs you wrote.
Well, the songs that they were singing were Little Darling, I'll Be Here When You Come Home. And I'm not that kind of person. I might have been a little, but I fought. He never hit me once and I didn't hit him twice. Let's put it that way. I did, and I wasn't very big. 5'2" ain't too big, and I always said I was 5'3", and he'd say, Loretta, why do you lie like that? I wanted to be taller than 5'2", so I made myself 5'3", but
your songs, like, totally shocked.
Yeah,
the whole
you know,
country music
they banned a lot of them, and they banned the pill, and I'm the only one that never took it. Every
You're the only
woman
one that
I
never
knew
took the pill?
took the pill. Because I'd get down from a club, you know, when I work in clubs, I'd do 4 shows a night, and then I'd take a 10-minute break every hour. I'd get down and talk to the people in the club, and all the women were taking the pill. So I never thought
about birth control
pills.
You know, because like in our time, oh, these people are young. I don't even know if they know that. That was a big deal when women got birth control pills.
Yeah.
Say one or two of the lines in that song.
But the thing of it was, if I'd have had them, I'd eat them like popcorn. Because let me tell you, they're like the pill. Let's see.
Say a couple lines of that song.
Let's start. Well, I can't even think.
Well, okay, I'll say it. You're like, well, this and that and the other, but, you know, things are going to change because now I've got the pill.
You sucked this chicken your last time because now I've got the pill. Let's see, how does it start out? You wine me and dine me when I was your girl. Promised if I'd be your wife, you'd show me the world. All I've seen of this old world is a bed and a doctor bill. I'm tearing down your brooder house, 'cause now I've got the pill.
That was like, that song and I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. I mean, those were like groundbreaking songs for women to hear.
And, you know, when I went in writing Don't Come Home A-Drinking.
Oh, I love that one.
City, and I had a good
Don't come home
reason.
A-drinking with loving on your mind.
That's right. And it's just as bad if you come home a-loving with drinking on your mind. Turn it around, Roseanne. But it's terrible.
And Fifth City.
Yeah, Fifth City, I wrote that about an old girl.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, she was a school bus driver. And she'll probably see this show, and I hope she does.
Tell us about
I'd like to finish her off.
Why is that, Loretta?
Well, I don't like her.
Why not?
Well, she told my little girl, Sissy, she said, when I walked in, Sissy says, Mama, the girl bus driver is going to take Daddy away from us. She says that her and Daddy are in love. I said, is that right? She said, yes. And she was crying and all this, so I jumped due as he walked in the door. I said, so you're going with the bus driver? And he took off in a hurry, and I wondered where he went. But he went down to the little roadside tavern and called her.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't come in the house and call her. He went down there and called her. Told her to come over and tell a lie. I said, tell her there's nothing going on. Well, she had my horse in her pasture. Don't tell me there wasn't something going on. She had a whole bunch of little kids, you know, and her husband left her, and I know why. And I wonder if some woman now hadn't finished her off. I don't know.
No,
maybe
you shouldn't mess with another woman's man. Shouldn't do
No,
that.
not if they're getting along. Or if they ain't. I mean, men do. I wouldn't even get home and say hello till, you know, I'd hear this before you get in, you know.
You hear what?
So these things were going on. So I wrote all these fighting songs. And I just bought the little town of Hurricane Mills when this happened. And so I said, you better detour around my town. She detoured, too.
You say if you don't want to sing a little bit of that one.
Well, for crying out loud.
How does it go? I know all the words. You've been making your brags around town.
That's right. Well, you don't know my song better than me.
I know all your songs.
You've been making your brags around town that you've been a loving my man. But the man I love, when he picks up trash, he puts it in a garbage can. That's what she looked like, too. That's what you look like to me.
Keep going, I want to hear.
What I see is a pity. You better close your face and stay out of my way if you don't want to go to Fish City.
Yeah.
I got it too high for the chorus.
We'll be back. Stay tuned. Performance by Loretta Lynn.
The chorus went there.
Really wonderful.
Thank you.
Performing Coal Miner's Daughter, a song that she has not performed with her guitar for 28 years, and that she wrote, and thank God you're writing music again. I can't wait to hear the new stuff. Miss Loretta Lynn.
If I miss a chord out there, just don't think nothing of it. Just do just like me, keep going. Well, a lot of things have changed since way back then. Oh, and it's so good to be back home again. Come on. Not much left but the floors. Nothing lives here anymore, except the memories of a coal miner's daughter.
We love you. We love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you,
So
honey.
beautiful. Thank you very much. We'll come back. We'll talk about you being a single woman now. Do you want to talk about
Okay.
I just had this feeling, and I wanted to say to you, and I did say it to you, but I want to say it to you in front of everybody.
Okay.
I think Loretta Lynn is just starting a whole new thing. I think you are just starting out on a whole new thing that you've never been able to do before.
Roseanne, you know, I've often thought this myself, you know, that I never have done what I have really meant to do, what God has really meant for me to do. Let's put it that way.
But now
and
you feel like
I think that I will be doing everything that He's put me here for. And I think I want to tell you something, honey. I love you so much. This is a brand new guitar, Epiphone guitar, and I wrote 3 new songs on the way out here.
You did?
Yes, I did, on this guitar. And I'm gonna give you this guitar.
Wow.
In that case.
You know, I don't even know how to play it or anything. Thank you. Will you sign up for me?
Oh, you don't want that.
Huh? Will you sign up for me?
No, I want you to learn to play it so we can do a show together.
Oh, cool.
Look here, that's A.
All right.
As long as you got no A, D, and E, and you can write any song or sing any song. Or you can start in D, G, and A. Ain't that, just get your guitar book.
Okay, next time for when you come back, I'll know how to do that. Well, I mean, I gotta have a week or two to learn.
Well, yeah, it takes a little time, but I wanted you to have that.
That is so sweet of you. Thank you.
Well,
that means so much to me. Thank you.
Now we're a duo.
I want to sing with you. Are you going to sing with me? well, can we sing a song together?
Yes.
I just want to sing with you, because
Okay.
you're like the only person that I can sing with. You know why?
She's went through the
Loretta
same
Lynn.
thing.
Because Loretta Lynn, I have to say this: when our president George Bush got mad at me for singing the national anthem and singing it real bad,
Well, it
I admit
wasn't
I
her
did.
fault.
He said I was disgusting. His good friend, he said I was a disgrace. Loretta Lynn is his good friend, and she went to the president and stuck up for me to him, didn't you?
That's right. And
And I thank you for
well,
that.
I want everybody to know why you did this, too. She did this because these people kept wanting her to come down and do this. She did what they told her to do. And she knew nothing about what was going on. And that made
Or
me mad, too.
singing.
And George had to go out and do something, or they were hollering at him. So I wanted to straighten that out.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we're
Are we
going to
gonna
sing You
sing?
Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man.
Yeah.
So don't none of you try it.
Check out these words.
You've come to tell me something. You say I ought to know that he don't love me anymore, and I'll have to let him go. You say you're gonna take him, oh, but I don't think you can, 'cause you ain't woman enough to take my man. Yeah. Women like you, they're a dime a dozen, you can buy them anywhere. For you to get to him, I have to move over, and I'm gonna stand right here. It'll be over my dead body, so get out while you can, 'cause you ain't woman enough to take my man. That's right. Hey, you did real great.
Thank you for letting me sing with you.
Now, see?
I'm going to practice
A
out.
little practice. See, that was D, G, and that was
D, G,
That was A,
A,
D, and
D, and
G.
G. Now I'm going to practice that for next
That's
time
right.
you come
Just
back.
bring it right down there, your finger.
All right.
Right in there. Just get this, hold that one.
Wow.
This one right here, too.
Huh?
Can you put your finger right over there?
Which finger?
That'll be A.
Like that?
No. Just one finger.
I need to get
there
me a
you go.
lesson
You
or
got
two
it.
there,
You got
Loretta.
that. There's A.
All right.
Just hold all them frets down. That's A.
Okay.
Now I'll go to G. You can do this for G and this for
I know this one, Loretta.
Is that G? That's G.
That's the only one I do know.
Okay, that's half of the battle right there. Now, D. That's the only one you don't know. The A is just, just the
Well, I'm
second
gonna
fret.
forget A.
Put this right there.
All right.
This here.
All right.
Now this one right there.
But
Mm-mm.
I'm getting a cramp, Loretta.
Now there's your D.
Getting a cramp in the finger there.
You learn them three. You already know G. And A is right here. You'll get it because you can.
I will practice and practice till you come back, because I want to be your partner.
Okay.
Thank you.
We will do a duet.
Give me a big old kiss.
I love you. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you for being on my show.
Hey.
Thank you for that wonderful
On the next Roseanne Show, it's all about sex with former Baywatch babe Tracy Bingham.
Lynn here, along with Crystal Gayle and Miss Peggy Sue. Boy, what have I gotten myself into? Now, let's take it one more time. The problem is, your fingernail polish does not match your lipstick.
No, it doesn't.
So, Crystal, hold yours over here and get your lips over there close. So
That's pretty good.
that's what we're going to do before we get on stage, right?
Yeah, and my shoes matches her dress.
I think I'll take the shoes.
So we may change them too. You know
We
what
are-
sisters do.
Yeah, we are thrilled to have you three on the Opry tonight singing as a trio. Now, it's not the first time it's happened, but it's the first time on the Opry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crystal, who came up with this idea?
Of the Opry?
To do as a trio.
Well, well, basically, we just wanted to get together. That's the only way to get together. Let's sing.
I called and I said, Crystal, how would you like to do the opera? She said, well, I kind of think that'd be fine. I said, well, let's do it.
And that was it, huh?
That was it.
Yeah.
Peggy Sue, y'all have done some TV specials together, right?
Uh-huh.
And also have worked at Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, Reno, all over.
So we're not a guinea pig tonight. I mean, you've done this before, right?
No, yeah, but this is... I haven't sung now in a couple of months, so you're a guinea pig.
Yeah.
So when you get together, Loretta, what do y'all sing? Do you sing basically
You wouldn't
tradition
believe some of
songs?
the stuff we sing. We don't sing our own stuff usually because we get so tired of our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to sing other people's stuff, and I'd do it every night if I could get by with it. But, you know, when you walk out on stage, everybody wants to hear, "Don't come home a drinking. You ain't woman enough to take my man."
I want to hear him.
Now, when you do it on stage, like, Crystal, do you go out and do some of your songs, and Peggy Sue does some of hers? Loretta, how does that work?
And when we're working concerts, yes, I go out and do my segment, and well, actually, Loretta will be the last to go on, and she does her segment, and then we join together.
Mm-hmm. Now, Peggy Sue, you were working with Crystal some dates before the trio ever got together, right?
Oh, I still work with her. I still travel the road, do harmony, and go out and sing a few songs.
Now, there's another singing Webb sibling, Jay Lee Webb.
Oh,
Does Jay Lee still sing?
Jay Lee still sings, and he travels. He does travel some now.
Yes, he does.
And to me, of course, he's my brother, and I'm prejudiced, but I think Jay Lee's a great little singer.
Well, can't you work him into the trio somehow?
Well, if he acts right, we might. but you know, Jay Lee was on MCA for a long time. He had about 3 or 4 hits for him. It was great. For Decca.
The Webb family, did you ever sing together as a family just for the fun of it? I mean, is this something that's been handed down through the years?
We've sang together, yeah.
Gospel songs, sitting around the piano?
Not a whole lot, because, see, I got married and left home. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm getting out of here. This whole bunch is crazy.
So you had your own whole bunch.
Yes. And they're all crazy. And they're all crazy. No, I was just kidding. No, I did get married, and I left. And right after I left, Crystal was born. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I moved to the state of Washington, and I lived there 13 years. Mm-hmm. So when I come back, why, everybody was singing, and we just all started singing.
Yeah.
I took them all on the road with me and made them sing.
Just said, get out there and do it, huh?
You bet.
Sing like you mean.
Crystal gets so nervous, she'd be standing backstage doing like this, you know, oh, I'm so nervous.
Yeah. I remember one show I came on that you were doing, and it was in this big old barn-type building, and I went up to sing, and there was this board, and I stepped on that board, and
Oh, no.
And I think when I exited, it did the same thing. I think in the back.
Because you're nervous when you go on, you're not thinking. Mm-hmm. And
well, you just still hit the board.
And Peggy, she sang harmony with me for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jay Lee was with me almost 10 years.
Yeah. Crystal, I understand you have a new album coming out. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm back with the Alan Reynolds. We hadn't worked together for about 7 years, and it's been great.
Well, I know he produced one song in particular, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue.
Oh, yeah. Well, he did all my earlier songs, like When I Dream, Talking in Your Sleep, Half the Way. A lot of songs. He's just a fantastic producer, as well as person. And,
when can we look for that?
The single's going to come out in April, and then the album will come out probably a month after that or so.
Now, what about an album for the trio? Are y'all going to do any recording?
We're getting it together.
Getting it together.
That's right.
Well, that'll be
You'll
good.
know when we do it.
We'll be the first.
Make it work.
Yes, we've already had a lot of stuff done, but there's been a little bit of sickness around in the family, and so we've been, we lost his mother and a lot of things, so we've been kind of, it's been rough this winter as far as getting together for us.
Well, I know we have talked a couple of times, you and I, and you've been talking about this project for a long time. She's
2
really
years.
I don't know whether she's been talking to y'all, but she's been talking to me about doing this project for some
She
time.
got mad at me. She says, now, if we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's quit talking about it.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I know that y'all are sisters, and sisters, like brothers, tend to, I mean, you say things to a brother or sister you wouldn't say to anybody else. Is there ever any friction goes on here?
Not a lot, but I would say that, you know, I would say things to them that if anybody else said,
You'd whip them.
well, I'd be right on them. But, you know, they do me the same way, but we don't pay that much attention to each other because we are sisters.
Mm-hmm. Crystal, Loretta actually gave you your name, didn't she?
Yes.
Didn't she help you?
I didn't really care what I was called at that time because I was going to record and
at that time, she just really didn't care. She was in love.
I was in love.
In love?
I'm in love.
I'm in love.
Well, how did the name come about?
Well, there's several little stories.
Set us straight right now. I've heard
I like them all.
Okay, now here's the way it really did happen. We were in, my bus was in the shop, and we were in a couple of vans, wasn't we?
I think so.
And we were riding in the back seat, and I'd been thinking, what in the world am I going to give, because it had Brenda Lee on Decca.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I had to come up with a star name. And I knew Crystal was a star. I knew that Crystal sang, I knew she was a star if we just got her going. And I thought, I've got to give her the star name. So about that time, I looked out and there was a Christopher. I looked over and I said, hello, Crystal Gayle.
Is that right? And that's the...
But I don't even know if she
True
remembers
story.
it.
No, I do.
you
The
remember
hamburger, yeah, that's where you got, you knew the name, but that's where she got the idea. Crystal.
So Gayle Webb became Crystal Gayle.
And she thought it was because of Crystal being a bright and shiny name. She thought
beautiful,
that's what I should be.
that's a beautiful star name.
Didn't have anything to do with the fact that they're a little bit on the smelly side.
No way, no way.
Listen, I think Crystal is something that is the shiny, bright star to me, and that's what I thought, you know.
Well, it's obvious there's a lot of love here and a lot of talent here, and we look forward to seeing all three of you on stage in just a little while. This is going to be a real treat. Joining these ladies tonight will be a popular pair of bluegrass brothers, and we'll catch up with Bobby and Sonny Osborne right after these messages.
Loretta Lynn, the coal miner's daughter who became a superstar, has added a new chapter to her life. She's the star of a road show for the USO.
I love Loretta Lynn.
Goodbye, cabin clothesline. Goodbye, pots and pans. I'm gonna take a Greyhound bus as further as I can.
Despite a grueling schedule of 17 performances in 18 days, country legend Loretta Lynn cheerfully brought a touch of home to U.S. servicemen and women stationed in Korea, the Philippines, and the Indian Ocean.
As you know, I definitely don't need to work, but I feel better if I'm working for nothing. Does that make any sense? And I know the boys need me.
And don't come home a drinker with loving on your mind.
Although Loretta recently announced she wanted to cut back and spend more time with her family, so far her schedule's been as hectic as ever. She's recently made several appearances as guest host on the syndicated program Hee Haw.
Loretta, I appreciate you taking time out to visit us here in Cornfield County.
I love to do hee haw. I don't know if that's comedy or just silliness. I think that's silliness. Do you like it, though? Well, that comes easy. I mean, I act silly all the time, so that comes real easy.
I like the old time worship of the Lord.
With so many activities, you might think Loretta Lynn's done it all.
Heavens, no. I haven't even started. There's something that I have to do that I don't know what it is yet. But I feel I'll know when this happens.
You do whatever you want.
That a girl.
You earned it.
That's right.
That's right.
What do you want to do? I'm not going to work myself to death. I said I'm going to work a few days on the road.
What are you going to sing?
On the road again. Just can't wait to
I just can't wait. You all know that I got that song.
Well, my faith means a lot to me. I mean, God, if it wasn't for God, none of us would be here. And Jesus is my friend, and I keep holding his hand. I don't let loose. If I ever let loose, well, I hope he grabs me because I'll be lost. I saw upon 3 crosses 3 men in agony, and 2 cried out for mercy, and the 3rd man, he looked at me, and oh, the hurt of this man's eyes just broke my heart in 2. It seemed that I could hear him say, I'm doing this for you. I knelt beneath the 3rd man's cross, and I slowly bowed my head, and I reached out to touch his feet, and it stained my hand with red, and when I heard him cry in pain, I raised my eyes to see, and the blood spilled from the 3rd man's side. Some of it spilled on me. The 3rd man wore a crown of thorns, and spikes held him to the tree. And I heard him say, oh God, my God, hast thou forsaken me? And there within a mighty crowd, the ones who mocked him cried, said, King, save thyself if you are a king. I want to be able to tell him how much I appreciate what he did. There's no way you can repay Jesus for what he done, because there's just no way. You just have to show him how much you love him, and I think that's the way we all have to repay him in that way. You can't pay him back any other way. It's in your actions, and he'd love that.